Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty on the
Good morning, Rockingham and Bellows Falls, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty, and today we have Rick Cohen and Bonnie Anderson, and we're going to be talking about the bike project. It's the day before Groundhog Day.
It is.
February
Is it like
1st.
Groundhog Eve then?
It's Groundhog Eve. Then, like last Groundhog Day, Tom Brady has retired, just so you know. And we have 14 days till Valentine's Day. Think about that. And local events.
Local events. So at the Bellows Falls Opera House this week, it's The Whale. I don't have a graphic on it. Sorry, folks, I didn't get one soon enough. That's with the one with Brendan Fraser, which I think is getting really good reviews.
He won several awards already.
Yeah, sounds interesting. Speaking of Groundhog Day, classic movie. How could you not have Groundhog Day as the classic movie on February 2nd? Sponsored by, drumroll please, Edward Jones.
Yay!
Good job, Mr. Stevens, on picking the movie. This Saturday night is the first of the Ray Masuko concert series. It's Dar Williams with special guest Chris Matthews. Doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7:30. Tickets are available at the Bellows Falls Opera House website. And they are starting to be more scarce than they were a few weeks ago. So if you're interested. In March, we have yet another live production at the Opera House. We have You're in Town. We will actually have David Stern in I think about 2 weeks to talk about that. Either it's before or after we have the Peace Cycle people come. We thought that was good timing.
Good programming.
Appropriate timing. So You're in Town is running March 24th, 25th, 26th. And then the 30th and 31st and April 1st. So I've seen the lineup of the scenery, seen that they've been practicing, and any David Stern production is always well worth the investment in your tickets. Make sure you save the date for the Bellows Falls Festival. That's happening on June 10th at the Waypoint Center. It's sponsored by the Rotary Club of Bellows Falls and the Wild Goose Players. We're still in the process of trying to figure out who we might want to invite as bands, who we might want to have there. We're trying to make it not a Roots on the River copy, but the idea that a festival in town that'll bring people into town, and there'll be maybe more of a variety.
So would it be like the holiday Rotary, the Bellows Follies?
No, we would actually be bringing in
Groups
musicians,
and things.
like some local folks, like, there's a whole list of musicians that David Stern came up with, and we're just kind of looking at their videos and trying to decide. Some of it's who's available, some of it's who we can afford, but having at least 2 or 3 local performers, some that are a little more Vermont performers, but not local Vermont, and just having a good variety of music. For kind of you're not going to ever, fit everyone's taste, but a little more eclectic mix. And then happening this Friday night at the church here in town is a benefit for Parks Place. It's going to be, they do the First Friday suppers, I think that's what they call them. And it is pasta, salad, and bread. The money that is raised goes to Parks Place, and it's only $8. It's a bargain. It's a bargain. And that's from 5 to 6:30 at the First Baptist Church. Those are the local events.
And today we're going to be talking about the Walk and Bike Committee. They had a meeting here just a couple of weeks ago, and Rick and Bonnie are heading that up, and we wanted to see what you guys were doing and tell us about what the scope of the project is and where you're hoping to go.
Well, thanks. Do you want me to start?
Sure.
So the Walk Bike Committee is an advisory group to the Select Board. So we were created by the Select Board, and many of us in town felt that we need to make our village and the town more welcoming to bicyclists and pedestrians.
And safer.
And safer. So that is our mission, and we've got some really great folks working with us, including Bonnie and Stan Talstra and Peter Bergstrom from Saxons River, And Gary Fox is our kind of administrative liaison.
And Marcia Stern is our chair.
Marcia Stern is our chair.
Yeah.
So it's a great team. And we are, we'll have some graphics here later to give you guys an idea about the kinds of things we're working on. And it's the forum we had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, maybe.
Was very well attended.
Yeah,
Marty,
you guys
were
did.
there, as
I was
recall.
there, and you
Thank
guys did. I was amazed. I mean, there was the trail work that you. I mean, I knew there's a lot of trails around here, but I didn't know there was as many as there are. And the work that you're doing to make them so much more user friendly and connecting the trails, I think, is fascinating.
Yeah. Sidewalks, too. I know the Bellows Falls residents and Saxons River folks are concerned about the state of the sidewalks. It's a perennial challenge for small towns. Sidewalks are super expensive, but I didn't know how expensive they were until I joined this committee. And
Surprise!
so that's one of the things we're doing. Crosswalks is really big. One of our big dreams is to put a crosswalk between Dairy Joy and the river, or walk along the river there.
Yeah.
So that's if you ever are there
Blinking light.
in the summertime.
In the summer, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Wild.
People are wandering, and their traffic's coming from 4 different directions. The nearest crosswalk, there's one by the bridge, and the next one is way up beyond the fire station. So there's really no safe way to get across that. And if you ever go to the fireworks thing, you see just dozens of near misses between people and cars. So that's one of our dreams. And then also the riverfront trail extension. So do you want to add? You probably add.
Yeah,
something.
well, there's a variety of there's bike racks. We're trying to get some bike racks installed in various places around town, like Hetty Green Park is one, especially for the farmers market, and then the library is going to be getting another one, I think, and hopefully then we're going to work on other businesses that are used a lot, like Leaside, perhaps, and I don't remember the post
That's an
office.
incredible scope. I mean, you're going, the project, the number of projects is really mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I mean,
and-
any one of those things you're talking about
Yeah,
could
so
be a
it was-
project.
Yeah, that's true. And we're trying to start small with the attainable, easily attainable things like bike racks and sidewalk, the painting of the sidewalk between the Legion and Walgreens. That, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So those starting there and then branching out into. But the forum was great because it not only put out there what we're doing, and but it also got a lot of community. It drew community support and interest in helping out, as well as just bringing, like you mentioned, connecting all the different groups, the trail groups, because once the Violet Bridge is open, we'll be connecting all of the work that's going on over here to all the work that's going on in New Hampshire.
I know, I thought it was fascinating that the gentleman from the Monadnock Trail Society was talking about, like literally connecting trails across state,
Yeah.
which I think is I don't know, it's a lot of, I think, what's the term I want to say, forethought, to be that well, planning and having that idea. And I think, I just want to backtrack a little bit, like what got this all started? Like how did it all come about? Was it just talking,
Well,
general talking, or?
What I recall is I was on the planning commission from roughly 2017 to 2020, and Chuck. So I was working on the transportation chapter, and Chuck, Chuck, the former town planner, we talked about the need for a walk bike committee, and so it kind of was just talk then. And then it kind of got dropped because there was so much focus on the town, working on the town plan. And then, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I started writing to the select board to get it on the agenda, and kind of took it from there.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
Rick thankfully stepped up. So it was unanimously approved by the select board. And at the same time, Rick stepped up to be our liaison, so it's been great.
That's
Oh,
nice.
that's
Very
good.
good.
I just think it's, like I said, it's a lot of work, but I think the payoff, that was one thing that was brought up at the I'm not sure who was talking about it. It might have been Annette Spalding at the forum that you had, was when you have these trails, or maybe it was someone else, and biking trails and stuff, people that like to do that, they come with their friends, they go to your downtown for coffee or lunch or stop and shop. And so it's not only beneficial to the residents in that it gives you a place to be active and to be outside, but it's beneficial to the local economy.
It's amazing. I don't know if you know about Burke, but Burke and the
Yes.
mountain trails, they're in the summer, they do skiing in the winter, but in the summer, it's just the center of mountain biking, and there people go from everywhere. I have a friend who lives in Austin, and she's, Burke, you go up to there, and that's one of the best. So if you guys were to
Draw.
do something similar, it would be a draw, I'm sure. It would
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
The,
definitely.
the most exciting, plus ambitious piece is the Riverfront Trail. And I don't know if your viewers are aware, but it's down. It's right near where the old paper mills were. And have you guys walked down there?
yeah.
And so the extension we want to do would take it all the way up to Paper Mill Road. And we have this beautiful Connecticut River, but you can't see it. And now most 19th century New England towns, unfortunately, turned their backs on the river.
Right.
And if you look at Brattleboro and lots of other towns, and it turns out that now connection with the water is a highly, highly sought after experience.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
So this trail, we're applying for a VTrans. It's called a Transportation Alternatives Grant, and Gary Fox, who is the grant meister,
I was going to say he's the guru of grants.
amazing. The guy is phenomenal. And so we're applying for a $50,000 scoping grant from Transportation Alternatives. That application went in about a month ago, and that will figure out how we can get from near the water treatment plant all the way up past the Liberty Mill, and then back down to the Saxons River outlet there by, I guess, Paper Mill Road. So that would be, and we want it to be accessible, so people could walk along there with baby strollers, or they can bike, they can, we hope to have
Wheelchairs.
all kinds of accessibility there. Plus, it's away from traffic. So the nice thing is
That's
people
true.
walk
That's
along the road
true.
without
Yeah.
dodging cars or being fearful of or the noise
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
right. Yeah.
So that's the big dream. One of our dreams. I guess that's the most expensive of them. Because if we get the scoping grant, we're likely to get a grant, and it will probably cost $500,000 to build
So
such a trail.
So you're talking like going from the labyrinth all the way to the river.
Yes.
Okay. Because you can kind of sort of walk it now if you're willing to
Yeah.
get through some scary areas.
Exactly.
like you're pushing branches and stuff
Bushwhacking,
aside.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
bushwhacking.
so Peter Bergstrom has been a real spark plug for that, and they've been out there cutting Japanese knotweed, which comes back 7 minutes later.
It's a never-ending process.
Exactly.
It's perpetual motion.
But
gotta-
there is a trail, and the Historical Society got rights of way from the mill building owner.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
So that's crucial, and that was negotiated a few years ago. The new owner prospective new owner was last night at a town meeting about what's the future of the Liberty Mill, and I asked him about the trail easements, and he's very eager to have people coming through. It'd be a real business plus for him
Oh,
to
yeah.
have that kind of connection. So that's where our fingers are crossed for the to get the VTrans grant.
Yeah, that's great. So would that eventually connect back through, was that Little Egypt, and then back to the high school trails? And
Yeah.
Yes, and it was called the Saxon River Valley Trail Initiative, and we're hoping to get to Saxons River, but boy, oh boy, it's a wicked challenge.
Yeah.
just with rights of
Working-
way
Rights
of
of
different
way
people
and
and
swamps and
Highways.
highways. And Route 121 is so
Hey.
narrow through
Yeah.
Right,
Westminster.
right.
Yeah.
So, but that's
That is another big goal, sorry to
Yeah,
cut
go
you off,
ahead.
but is making a safe, so there is that in the works, and that's all off-road. But another eventual goal will be to figure out how to get a safe, basically commuter route from Bellows Falls to Saxons River. So,
Really?
yeah,
Nice.
so
Yeah.
probably it's gonna have to be off-road, because there's not enough room on the road, but, so that's kind of
That's-
down the road.
yeah.
So like a bike commuter route.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even
Or
walking. I
walking.
mean, people have been seen walking that whole distance, but mostly biking.
Yeah, because I was thinking after the meeting, I was thinking about that, and there's that one section where it's just, where are you going to go?
There's
There's
no
nowhere.
room.
There's no room to
Exactly.
create without like hugely undue expense, like
Right.
huge,
Oh,
huge
yeah.
expense.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's always a way if you
Right.
have enough
Yeah.
money.
So that said, signage is a big thing that we will be working on as well. So where there's no room for improving the actual infrastructure, you can put signs up like bikers may use travel lanes, things like that.
Yeah.
So you can sort of get around certain tight spots that way.
I think someone at the forum talked a lot about that. Is I think this is what was said, something about education and educating both bikers and folks in cars about sharing the road.
Mhm.
Is that like kind of part of your plan
Yeah,
too?
yeah, definitely.
Well, I think,
Again,
Rick,
signage.
you sent in some slides, and I
Yeah.
wonder
Oh,
if
yeah,
we
yeah, we
might
should
go
get- we
through
should-
those,
Sure,
and, then,
yeah. why don't
and
you-
maybe that'll address some of those.
Yeah.
So maybe we can just start with the first slide and then go on from there. So what are we seeing here?
Okay, so this is an overview of Rockingham Street and the main street in Bellows Falls. And as you walk from where the Legion is, that is walking north, there's for some reason over the years, a sidewalk was just destroyed there, I guess to make a parking area perhaps.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
angle parking there.
Mhm.
So it's not clear where the cars are supposed to be and where the people, bicyclists, wheelchair people, baby strollers
Mhm.
should be. So it's been approved it's been funded by the select board to paint a stripe on there. You can see sort of the maroon on the graphic.
Uh-huh.
There's sort of a maroon stripe there. And that will tell people where the sidewalk is. So you shouldn't drive there, shouldn't park your car there. Just a hint that this is we have to divide cars and people.
Yes, nice.
Yeah.
And then this is
a little
a
better shot of it.
crosswalk.
Yeah, there's a better image of the painted
Oh, okay,
lane.
that's
Basically a
the
street
same.
view, yeah.
The Legion would be right on the right there, and then as
On
you
the
go
left,
up, you
yeah.
would
Um,
on the
Left.
left.
Yes,
excuse
on
me,
the
sorry.
The other.
As you're
My
heading-
other
as you're heading north, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It would be an alert to cars. People walk here.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So this, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the extension of the Riverfront Trail, the plan.
Oh, okay. Then
Yeah.
that's what we were talking about before. That
Yeah.
that would go down to the river then.
And it would travel from this village south and have beautiful views and lots of nature to observe. Now we're going to have to put in some, what do you call it when you go steep and you turn? Switchback.
Oh, a switchback. Yeah.
Switchback. We're going to need a switchback because as you approach the Liberty Mill, it gets very steep. And
Oh,
there's
really?
also a giant stormwater drain buried under there. So nothing is easy. So this is going to be why we're having a scoping grant to have engineers look at this. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have a grant, an easement that's in the deed to the Liberty Mall. So even if Liberty Tree, rather, sorry, not Liberty Tree, it's Liberty Mill. And if when that property changes hands, that easement travels with the property.
Oh, good,
So we have
good.
assured access
good.
for building the trail.
Yeah. And this is the aerial view of.
This.
Yeah, this is where we
These
might
are the
want to put
crosswalks.
the crosswalk idea. So you can see sort of the bridge across to North Walpole,
Uh-huh.
and then as you travel north, you can see that there's no crosswalk between the bridge and way up by the fire station.
Wow.
And it's one of the most pedestrian intense areas of town,
Mhm.
and there's no way to get across the road. So we, at least I, in my naivete, thought, well, let's just paint a crosswalk.
Yeah.
Mm.
No.
that was going to be one of my questions.
we had a cool meeting with Andy Howarth, who's the road foreman for Rockingham, and Scott Pickup, and they described the complexity of making a crosswalk happen.
And is it legislative or zoning, or is it? I mean, how many levels are there?
The traffic study, how many people are there, and also the some sort of a warning that a crosswalk is approaching. Is what
Mhm.
I think the requirements have upped in recent years.
Yeah,
So we're working with the Wyndham Regional Commission, Colin, whose last name escapes me.
yeah, I don't.
Anyway, there's a fellow who's from Wyndham Regional who's interested in this and going to help us, we hope, make the proper applications. And Scott and Andy are very patient with us as we describe our hopes and dreams. and we're getting some funding for them.
Oh, nice. Very good.
That feels good.
And I just want to add to that, the bit about the crosswalk is that on the other side of that, on the riverside, is a beautiful long sidewalk.
It's one of the best sidewalks in town.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a gorgeous view, and it hardly gets used, and partly because of the access, but I think also, it's in disrepair.
Mhm.
We've brought the Duet, the wheelchair bike that we have over there, very carefully, getting there, crossing by the Arch Bridge, which is not
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
safe crossing.
There's a graphic
There's a
And then,
wheelchair.
yeah, so we've taken that along that route, and they love it. It's beautiful, but you
Getting
have to be
to
really
it is-
getting to it,
is
and then
a-
then we have to turn around in someone's driveway because there isn't a northern end crossing,
Yeah.
and that's another thing. Eventually, there should be a crossing way down on
Yeah.
that end,
Mhm.
but there's we have our work cut out for
It is it's a beautiful area, and you're right, and you don't see a lot of people walking on that side because you kind of have to you have to be prepared to dart across the street if you're going to
Mhm.
walk there. But I also see the other side of it because of that constant traffic flow. It's probably from the road crew standpoint, it's probably like, wow, where are we going to do this where it's least
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
problematic?
Exactly.
Unintended consequences
No,
sometimes, I
that's
think.
true.
Yeah.
It's such a
Yeah.
tricky area out
Yeah.
there. And so, but these beautiful views, and
I
it's
know.
so,
It's amazing.
It would be such a draw, I think, for people to be able to walk there safely. And
Yeah, it's a real asset to the town.
Well, especially if you're trying to do a longer scoop the loop. People always talk
Right.
about scooping the
Mhm.
loop, walking around the center, but to extend it out further and to be able to go across and then kind of come through the Morgan's Field area, which is less traffic,
Mhm.
yes,
and then come back out onto the main road.
Yeah.
And yeah, what did we just have up?
oh,
I don't
that
know.
was the last. That
Yeah,
was where we also do,
Oh.
as Bonnie mentioned, bike racks, and this is the Hetty Green Park, whereas is the current location, as you know, of our farmers market, and also TD Bank is nearby. So it's a place where people will need a place to park their bikes
Mhm.
to attend, either do their business at the bank or also access the parking lot. People want to drive here and put their bikes someplace,
Yeah.
take their bike off, put it, and go for a walk, and then bike. We're putting in actually next spring. This is definitely happening. A bike rack there.
Nice. It's also an easy access, like if they park their bike to walk to downtown and come back and park their bike, because it's kind of hard. I know you added, are you responsible for adding that little bike parking out in front of the Wyndham Hotel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was.
Because I thought that was because there really wasn't any place to park
Right.
anywhere in the downtown.
And,
Yeah.
and people connect their bikes to benches and all kinds of
Yeah.
other
Railings.
inappropriate places. So.
Other folks that are standing there.
Exactly. Anyone not moving.
Anyone not moving. It's a hazard in downtown.
Exactly.
So we're just about to 2 minutes left.
Okay.
So it would be a good time to let everyone know how to reach out and connect with you if they're interested in volunteering. I'm assuming that you can still use some hands for all of these projects, whether it be actual hands-on, like with trail clearing, or
Mhm.
just showing up to the meetings with ideas, or being willing to whatever. So those are the two
All the
best
above.
addresses? And then when do you actually meet, and how would they find that information?
We meet every other Thursday, generally at 10 a.m. at the third floor meeting room of the town hall. It does kind of skip around occasionally, depending on all of our availability. So it's not like we say the first and third, right? We're
Mhm.
still not down to like a
Set pattern.
yeah. So you can go to the town website, rockbf.org, and look for our agenda there and the minutes.
Yeah. Or if you want to email us at the addresses that just appeared on the screen, we can we'll respond and
And
Yeah.
fill you in.
yeah, have more folks. Because the number of people at that forum amazed me. The kind
was a
of,
good
and that was
turnout.
on a cold January night.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
In the
like
middle
I've
of the
seen-
week,
too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's a
So if
Wednesday
that many
night.
people showed up, I know we have something that matters to the community.
Mhm.
Great.
No, I agree with you. Any last things you want the community to know?
Well, I would just add, we want your ideas. We still want your ideas and thoughts and concerns about bicycle pedestrian infrastructure. And
Great.
definitely get in touch.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on. I hope as this project moves along, maybe you can come back and report again on specific pieces as, whatever
Sure.
happens,
We
because
will.
it is of interest, and I think the community is on board with it, and That's great. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You know, when you get to the level of maybe some of the education sessions, or when you know where the crosswalks are going to go, would be a great way to kind of get the word out, because sometimes it takes people a while to, oh my God, there's a crosswalk there. Yeah, I should not be going
80 miles
40
an hour.
miles an hour.
Exactly.
Putting the pedal to the metal because I got to slow down at some point.
Exactly.
So.
So people have to get used to it.
Exactly.
Well,
Well,
good.
thank you both.
Yeah, thank
thank
you.
you.
And
Pleasure.
that's it for this week. We'll see you next
See you
week on the
next week.
feed. Bye, community.
Bye.
Bye.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music.